Women will not respect you in a relationship unless you have the ability to cheat on her with other women at her level of attractiveness or higher. And when I say higher, what I really mean is hotter. Okay, she wants to know at all times what league you're actually in. So no matter how uncomfortable this sounds, I really don't care, because all of you have to understand it. Majority of men, and this was me too in my younger years, you get focused on a specific girl. Okay, and you can't do this, because here's how you have to start to think of SMV and your own sexual market value and leveling up your life. For every second that you spend, okay, trying to hold the interest or trying to hold the attraction or the attention from one specific woman, what you have to remember is this: that is a second away from your own personal development and masculine development as a man that could potentially be raising your sexual market value. What I want you to do, okay, is instead of focusing on retaining a woman's interests, I want you to focus 100% of your time on how you can level yourself up in certain ways that is going to be increasing your sexual market value. Okay, I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if you need to spend more time making more money. I don't care if you need to develop your internal confidence and charisma by going out there and doing more cold approaches. I don't know if you need to lose 20 pounds so that way you don't look overweight and you look shredded and you look attractive and girls will look at you and say, damn, he's hot. I don't give a fuck what you have to do, but you need to spend the time on you. Okay, and here's the funny thing about this. If you emulate the behaviors of women in certain ways, or certain ways, shapes, and forms, this is exactly what women do. Women spend 100% of their time oftentimes not chasing any of the men. They spend majority of their time only caring about themselves and leveling themselves up. The focus is on their own world. And when I say that, it means hair, nails, and makeup, looking hot, wearing the right clothes, right? Making sure their jewelry's on point, making sure their makeup's on point, getting in the gym, living a social life of abundance. Women do these things naturally. So in a lot of other, content out there by virtually any dating coach, right, not just me, everybody talks about, right, a man making themselves his own mental focus day to day. But you see, women do these things naturally. So I'm going to say this again. What you have to do as a man is level up your own sexual market value, because the truth is this: a woman that you date or a woman that you're in a relationship with will never respect you unless you are able to cheat on her with a different woman. I shouldn't even say cheat, unless you're able to be with another woman romantically at her current level of attractiveness or higher. So what you also have to do, and what you also have to remember, is a woman is constantly analyzing your sexual market value, and the second you go weak for her is the second that it now proves that her sexual market value is higher than yours, and now she has reason to leave you. So when it comes to a woman analyzing and understanding your sexual market value, this has nothing to do with your bank balance. This has nothing to do with the type of car you drive. This has nothing to do with how big your biceps are. This goes into internal value. She is constantly looking at you saying, how high of self-worth does this motherfucker have? Right? How high of self-worth does this guy have? Does this guy have the confidence and conviction to believe that he is in my league? Right? And then what's going to happen is, if you constantly pass these tests, whether these be interest tests or whatever the case may be, the truth is she's going to be sitting there looking at you going, well, am I in his league? Right? Could he do better? And a woman will only respect you if she knows that either, number one, you could do better, number two, you have other options at her current level of attractiveness or higher, and number three, she potentially knows that you've been with other women that are just as hot as she is. If you start to check those boxes, hypergamy is satisfied. So this is a big wake-up call for most men, because majority of men, what they're trying to do is they're trying to spend all this time getting better verbal skills and getting better with their game. And the issue with that is the man never takes a second and looks in the mirror and says, okay, what league am I in? What's my track record with the attractiveness of other women that I've been with? And how can I spend 100% of my time leveling myself up in these areas, okay, so that way she has strong attraction towards me? Now, here's the other thing that majority of you guys are going to have to understand as well. There is a very big difference here between the male lens of attraction and the female lens of attraction. So just because you think something is attractive does not necessarily mean that she feels it's attractive. And here's how I started to discover this for myself. I want you to look at the word masculinity. So I want you to think of the word masculine. And I want you to think of level 10 masculine as like a 7-foot-tall gladiator in a video game. And then level 1 masculine, let's say, is like, you know, a dude who is very, very weak, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe he's not in shape, not good looking, he doesn't take care of himself, and he's very weak, right? So think of that. What women oftentimes would prefer, okay, is somewhere along the scale or somewhere along the spectrum of like maybe a 5.5 to 6.5, because what you have to remember is hypergamy optimizes for both sides of the coin, and both sides of the coin is not just the alpha side where it's like how attractive and arousing are you, it's also what her biology is constantly screening for is, if I were to have kids with this guy, or if I were to be with this guy, would this guy abandon me, or is this guy going to take care of myself and my future offspring? So it's a balancing act. So what you have to remember is that your self-improvement journey, okay, does not just mean you are constantly getting bigger muscles and you're becoming more masculine. And the way that I would start to put 2 and 2 together with this is when I would go out, right, the gym bros or the dudes with the most masculine alpha look were never the ones who were getting the most attention and the most attraction from the females. The females were going after guys a lot of times who had more thinner builds, leaner aesthetic frames, typically thinner facial features, and a lot of times it would be men who they're in shape and they're athletic looking, but they do not necessarily look bulky or too big or too masculine. So the thing is too is that hyper masculine side where you look edgy and where you're constantly putting in development in those areas, there is a point of diminishing returns. And what you're going to notice is this: when I say you constantly want to spend as close to 100% of your time as humanly possible leveling up your own sexual market value, that does not just mean your muscles and how masculine you look. For some of you, it might just be improving your overall fashion and your overall style, right? For some of you, it might mean, you know, a specific haircut that suits your face better, or it could mean even doubling down into your own unique identity. Maybe you don't have necessarily the same look or the same image as everybody else. So that's what you have to remember too. But overall, the mindset I'm trying to get you out of with this video is that for every second, for every minute, for every moment that you spend trying to hold a woman's interest, pursue a woman for a relationship, right? Try to get her to invest in you in certain ways. That is a minute off your life that you could be using to level up your own sexual market value. And here's the funny thing. Everybody wants to throw around the word online, simp. Okay, everybody's heard that word by now. The beta behavior or the simp behavior that you notice that men do to women, the funny thing is this: the higher your status and sexual market value, what happens is all of that behavior that the lower value guys do to try and please women, this is the exact behavior that you're going to notice women start to do for you. And here's the funny thing. Women absolutely hate when a guy is in that mindset and when a guy is in that simp behavior, putting her on the pedestal. But the funny thing is this: a woman only falls in love if she's in that frame and if she's in that position. And the funniest part about it is this, is what you're going to notice is the guys that she's constantly coming back to, she wants to be in that frame. She wants to be in that frame where she looks at that man as the king, the leader, the guy who is definitely at the top that she looks up to, and she feels in her heart of hearts that she could not do better. So this is the ending of the message that I want you to remember. Your whole goal when you are on a date with a woman is you need to frame your sexual market value in a way where she looks at you and she goes, this is the best I will ever do. Not only is this the best I will ever do, this is the most attractive man, this is the most captivating man, this is the best I will ever do, and because of that, I'm going to work hard in order to please him, to keep him pleased, and to retain his interests. If you act like a king, you get treated like a king. If you act like your shit don't stink, they treat you that way, right? If you act like you are at the top of the hierarchy of whatever the case may be when it comes to sexual market value, women only know what you put in front of them. So if the frame and the demeanor and the attitude that you are putting in front of them is that you are a 10 out of 10, you act like you're a 10 out of 10, you have been with other women at her current level of attractiveness or hotter, and you act like sex means nothing to you due to the fact that you get this if you just snapped your fingers and had a genie in a bottle, deliver you red carpet models, at the drop of a hat if you wanted. If you carry yourself with that tonality, that conviction, that confidence, that attitude, that's what a woman respects. So keep that in mind. You have to have an overall paradigm shift and an overall mindset shift. And here's what I want you to do. If you align with the beliefs and you align with the concepts that I've just taught you on this video, I want you to take this a step further and join us inside of our movement, inside of our community. I named this Headman Nation. Headman means chief or leader of tribe. Because of that, I want all of you to elevate to that level, so that way you see yourself, you see the vision for your life as a man with that level of status. And what we have done over the past few months is we have put over 750 guys together to master what I would call the language of women. And when you start to understand the language of women, what happens is this: you can generate attraction on the front end when you first meet women, and then what happens is the women that come into your life, you retain their interest level and you can retain those relationships. So guys who constantly have to resort to going out and pick up and one night stands, that is complete bullshit because it's a waste of time. What I want you to do is I want you to understand, learn, and master the language of women, so when you have women that have interest and attraction towards you, you're able to retain those relationships. That's why I developed this community. That's why I've been showing men how to do this, and that's why we've put over 750 guys together over the past few months, and I'm watching these guys' lives change daily. So I invite you to join us inside of that. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.